Welcome to Massive Beers. My name is Matt. We do the beer stuff here. Old beer from a new brewery. It's such a weird concept. I'm excited to dive into this one. Sticky Lips. Sticky Lips, American barley wine from Buried Acorn Brewing. I have done my fair share of Buried Acorn beers. They're based out of Syracuse, New York, but I didn't even hear about them. I didn't really know they existed till one of their brewers, ex-brewer now, but still boys with the fam there, Sean Place, reached out to me a couple of years ago, and it was like, hey man, I work for this brewery, I want to send you some beers. He sent me some of the beers, and I really dug on what he sent me. Got a little bit more in the mail. He left, but then he started doing... before that, my buddy George was traveling through, stopped in, talked to the owner, said, I know Matt, said, here, bring him some more beers. And then recently, I posted a series of videos of Buried Acorn beers from Drink New York Craft, which is like a beer mail service, and they were all Buried Acorn beers. That's been my extent of my experience with Buried Acorn, has been basically, they've either been sent to me or been given to somebody at the brewery, to somebody that has hand-delivered them to me. I talked about this in a different beer review, but I'll bring it up in this one. I was looking for some beer. A specific beer that's easy to find. I went over to Pennsylvania, went to a couple different spots, and there's a spot I've never even heard of. I popped in there going, maybe they'll have this random beer that I should be able to find easily. And they have this shelf of $4.99 freaking dusty just bangers. And this is on there. So, like, literally, I want to say, like, as the crow flies, like, 13 miles away from my house, there's 2018. Again, I haven't mentioned that yet. 2018. So you're talking about, that's when Buried Acorn started. 2018. 2018, American Barleywine. Buried Acorn Brewing, like, 13 miles from my house. I don't know how that happens, especially at a place that hasn't been open for... they've only been open like a year or two. How did they get this beer? I don't know. We're going to drink it, though. So it's an American barley wine called Sticky Lips from Buried Acorn Brewing. On the side here, it says, brewed and bottled by Buried Acorn Brewing, Syracuse, New York. Art by Variety Studios. And over here it says, buffoonery awaits. Dig on that. Love Buried Acorn. It has a bottling date of 2018, and it's a 13.5% batch 1 Sticky Lips. I am hyper excited for this. I love barley wine. I love aged barley wine. American barley wine with the age. A little bit of a hiss there, so I think we're in good company. Let's see where we get here. We're going to give this a hyper aggressive pour. Ooh. Look at that thing. Yeah, buddy. That's what I like to see. I need a bottle top here. To keep what carbonation? Man, that's good carbonation. I'm blown away by this. Actually, I can find this close. But man, as far as barley wine goes, that's exactly what I want to see. Just this kind of murky brown, mahogany red kind of darkness. It's not hyper doo-doo water kind of murky, but if I hold up to light, it's not like it's perfectly like clean. It's semi-opaque. I poured this on purpose, hyper aggressively, index finger, a little bit over an index finger of head, even after I let it dissipate quite a bit. Kind of has that kind of nice malted malt ball kind of color to it. So it definitely looks the part of a nice rich barley wine. Okay, let's get a nose. Definitely more American barley wine vibes, because you're getting this kind of treacly caramel, caramelized caramel. Kind of like you're cooking off caramel for like a hoity-toity kind of dessertiness kind of vibe to it as far as the sweetness, but there's definitely a tannic kind of spiciness to it. So you definitely get a hop. You're definitely getting a hop of ghost of hops passed on this, at least aromatically. So you're getting this kind of nice, kind of sweet, spicy kind of combination. Who doesn't like that? There's rich kind of maltiness coming off that kind of burnt brown sugar, leaning slightly into a figgy datey thing. But again, American barley wines are giving this spiciness, this kind of tannicness, this kind of hoppiness that just kind of helps balance off a bit of that sweetness. It doesn't come off like a huge beer, at least aromatically. It's not like punch me in the face with aromatics. It's not punch me in the face with a big kind of high heat. Again, we're talking about 13% here, but we're also talking about, 6 years on this beer. So it comes off pretty much spot on what I expect a lot of a well done American barley wines to come off with a bit of age. Fair enough? Let's dive in. Cheers, y'all. It's fun. It's fun. It's past its prime. You definitely tell it's an American barley wine. It has some really fun things going for it. Man, that's fun. That's fun. Again, a decent amount of spiciness, a decent amount of hop characteristics still left here 6 years later. There's a sweetness to it. Again, that kind of treacly, kind of like burnt brown sugar. But this is where I think it kind of just dips a little bit. It's actually lacking a little bit of sweetness. That tannicness, that hoppiness is still there in spades to the point where I just want a slight bit of bump in sweetness. And honestly, it's kind of, I usually lean opposite when it comes to beers like this. And I think it kind of elevates to a different level of has a touch more sweetness to it. Mouth feels quite nice. Honestly, I really want to try this if there was a barrel-aged version, because I think that would bring that sweetness, maybe add a little bit of additional kind of accelerated aging to the beer. But it's fun. It tastes like a really nice, well-done 6-year-old American barley wine. First year out of the chute, batch one, nice spiciness to it, nothing too crazy. Has that really beautiful carbonation to it, which has been something of a sticking point for me when it comes to varied Acorn beers. But again, almost all those carbonation issues have been with barrel-aged beers, not non-barrel-aged beers, so take that for what it's worth. I dig it. I mean, again, discount shelf. I don't even know if I mentioned that. Discount shelf, $4.99, a 13%, 6-year-old barley wine from a brewery I dig. I will buy that all day. I actually might go back and buy some more to see if there's a variance between bottles and maybe share with friends. But this is a very cool experiment. I'm glad I got to give it a whirl. And just to find a beer from this brewery, like this close to my house, that I don't know them outside of them reaching out and sending me beers and then just to go. I mean, they're in New York. That's not far away from New Jersey, but it's like 6.5 hours away from where I live. It's not close. It's essentially 3 states away. If you think about it, if you separate New York from upstate New York, it's essentially 3 states away. A very cool find, a very cool get, and I'm glad I found it. Again, aged beer is always a crapshoot. You're never gonna find like a consistent gem when it comes to beers. Even from bottle to bottle, you can find variants. But as far as an American barley wine and what I typically get, is it a 10-year-old Bigfoot? No. But how many American barley wines are? So just even to find this and have the ability to get it at that reasonable price and experience, it's a very cool thing, and I'm glad I gave it a whirl. So, as far as American barley wines go, is it one of Mount Rushmore status? No. Value and availability, amazing. Mount Rushmore status, aged American barley wine, outside looking in. It's in the conversation, but it's not. It's not Mount Rushmore status. Off the shelf, I can tell you where you can find 6, 7 of these right now if you want to. You live in the Stroudsburg area, and maybe if you like what we like this, if you like aged American barley wine, you will dig this. Especially if you don't like them to skew sweet. So there you go. A review in the books. Hopefully you enjoyed. Down there, if you want to talk about it, Massive Beers. Check me out all over the social medias. Buried Acorn. Have you been to the brewery? Have you had their beers? Have you had this beer? Original, newer ones, because I know they tweak the recipe a little bit. A little inside info there. But have you had the original, and have you had the original lately? Really curious if you had down there. Hopefully you can have a conversation about it. Hopefully you enjoyed the review. Hopefully see you next time. Cheers, all.